My name is Jay Rattenbury. I am the owner-operator of Rattenbury's Autoworks, and this is my 1965 Impala Super Sport. It was a factory super sport car. It was built in Los Angeles, California. Aside from the engine, transmission, and the air conditioning system in the car, that's really the only modifications made from factory. The engine, it is a GM Performance Crate 502, so it's a 502 cubic inch big block Chevy. It has Hillborn fuel injection system on it. It has Super Competitions headers on it. That's 2 1/4 primary tubes and 3.5 inch dumps. 3-inch mandrel bent exhaust all the way back. It's got the original 12-bolt rear end in it with 390 gears, turbo 400 transmission that has been built and polished. There is a hood for the car. It's being shown today without a hood. I have a fiberglass hood that I put on it, and as well as the original steel hood that came with the car factory. Back when I was younger, my father bought a 1968 Chevy Impala, and somebody had painted it with a roller, and it was yellow, house paint yellow, and we lovingly called it the banana. We all scraped the paint off of it. It went to a body shop and got painted midnight blue. It had a black interior and a 327 small block Chevy engine in it. My brothers spent a lot of time working on it along with my father, and seeing that as a young kid just kind of struck me, and I guess you can say the gasoline was in the blood at that time. In high school, somebody told me that there was a Impala in Weymouth, and you got to go check this car out. So I went there, and of course, walking up on the side of the car, it looked just like the 68, except a little bit different. So I was walking towards the back of the car and saw the taillights, and was like, ooh, this is not the 68, this is a different one. And found out that this is a 65, which is the first year for the fastback, which is that roof design. Now it slopes back. And each year Impala had a different taillight setup, so you could tell what years they were. So I saw this car. I think it was for sale. The price on tag on it was like $3,500, I think it was at the time. And I went home and talked to my father and said, I've got a good job. I've been in the field working for a while, and I said, I got a good job, and I saw this car that I like. Could I get you to co-sign a loan for me so I could buy this car? And my father just kind of like, I'll think about it. And that usually meant probably no. So I turned around and left and was kind of forgetting about that car because I wasn't going to be able to get enough funds to buy it myself. It was very end of my senior year at South Shore Votech. Went to school, and by the time I had come home, I come down the driveway, and that car was in the driveway. And my father had gone and bought the car, and he had spent the day driving around with it. I think he even had the transmission fluid changed. It was registered, insured, and ready to go. Of course, this was a loan. It was not bought for me. So I had to pay this money back to him. So I drove this car for the summer of '91. And as we know from the movies, we heard of the movie The Perfect Storm. That storm, the perfect storm, was happening. That was late in the season, and I remember driving this car to the top of Forest Avenue here in town and looking at a very angry ocean. I turned around, brought the car home. Knowing that there would be a storm that night, I was able to convince my parents to let me put the car inside the garage. I went inside the garage and I took the car apart. You couldn't take a car apart any further. And it spent many years apart. Some of that was because I was sitting on a bar stool and talking about all the cool parts that I bought for this car. But after quitting drinking, I actually finished 2 other cars and then finished this car. Maybe drinking alcohol and having a car like this was probably not a good idea anyway, so everything seemed to work out. Been sober 13 years now. So trying to put this one together was tedious, trying to match the colors that like the interior had that weren't something you could just buy off a shelf. And a lot of people will look at the car and think, well, you just, you call up Summit and you buy this or that and you put it on the car. That was always the joke, putting the car together. What are we doing tonight? Oh, well, we take the parts off the shelf, you put it on the car, and you make a car. It's just that easy. Well, usually it was, okay, we want to put this on the car. Here's the original hardware. Is it worthy of going back onto the car? So maybe I can clean this up and use it, or no, I want to not use the original. It's not as good as it should be. Let's put something stainless steel in its place, something that's more pretty or whatever. I didn't make these parts or make the car fit the parts. I make the parts fit the car. So everything could be unbolted in this car and put back to a factory configuration way it was from the factory. The reason why I put the most level of detail into this car is because I guess it was the love, that old car, the 68 Impala that we had, and wanting to have something that was what I would see in car shows and things. We used to have the show World of Wheels up in Boston, and seeing some of those real show winners of people that would go across country and show their cars. I guess that was where it started, was, boy, having something that was just better than it was when it was new. It was kind of the passion when I drove towards. And at the same time, when I started the project, I was like 16, 17 years old. And prior to that, of course, in my generation, getting your license was really something you had to do quickly. So 16 and a half, I had the license and I was going. But if there was any way of having a license prior to that, I would have. So there was a lot of dreaming, at 13, 14, 15 years old of, boy, if I had a car like this is what I would do to it. So there was a lot of the planning of what I wanted was done at a very young age. And then you start in on the project and trying to get to that goal. Of course, things do change. And if I were to start all over again, I may not have gone this route with the car, but I had to finish the project that I started. And this is, I guess, the product of a 14-year-old kid. This car would be a strong 98% done. But like you say, projects never really seem to cease. So I've had a lot of people offer to buy the car from me. And I have so much time and effort and owned the car for so long that I just could not sell the car. I've got a strong bond with it. I never had any children of my own. I guess this would say this is one of my first children. So yes, I think I'm keeping this one.